Good morning, everybody. First, wanted to welcome Nancy A. Lynch, who is a visitor with us this morning. Thank you for coming in, Nancy. At this time, I wanted to convene the February 17, 2015 School Land Board meeting and call it to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 20th, 2015 School Land Board meeting. I will need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve the minutes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda as posted. I was just notified that item 2A15, the Capitan Energy lease, has been pulled from the agenda. After you've had a chance to review it, and assuming there are no questions or objections, we can go ahead and approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
The motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve the consent agenda as posted, but for the item that was pulled. Items number 3 through 6 will be in executive session. The School Land Board will enter into executive session pursuant to Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Section 551, Tech 071 of the Texas Government Code for discussion and consideration regarding pending or contemplated litigation and/or settlement offers, or to seek or receive attorney advice or counsel related to items 3 through 6 on the docket, and subsection 551 Tech 072 for the discussion and consideration concerning the purchase, sale, exchange, lease, or value of real property related to items 3 through 6 on the docket. Following the executive session, the board will reconvene in open session to complete the docket. The open session of the February 17, 2015 School Land Board meeting will resume with item number 3, as stated.
Russell May with Funds Division. Staff is recommending the SLB approve the attached 2015 budget associated with the property in Comal County, Texas, under the terms. Staff, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think he was worried that the web couldn't hear you.
Staff is recommending that the SLB approve the attached 2015 budget associated with the property in Comal County, Texas, under the terms and conditions as presented to the board and being in the best interest of the PSF.
So moved. Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously. Now item number 4, as stated. Next item on the agenda.
Okay, sure. Russell May with Funds Division. I think y'all can hear me now. Staff is recommending the SLB approve the disposition of PSF land located in Harris County, Texas, under the terms and conditions as presented to the board and being in the best interest of the state or the PSF. Are there any questions?
So moved. Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 4. Next item on the agenda is number 5. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Amber Long, Asset Management. Staff recommends approval of the disposition of tax foreclosure land per the terms discussed in closed session as being in the best interest of the permanent school fund. Any questions?
So moved. Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously
Thank
to
you.
approve item number 5. Next item on the agenda is number 6, as stated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, for the record, Rusty Martin, Director of PSF Investments, Chief Investment Officer. Approval of this agenda item would constitute approval by the School Land Board of the disposition of its investment in AEW Core Property Trust U.S., Inc. Recent discussions between our Investment Advisory Committee and the Board's Real Assets Investment Consultant, the Townsend Group, indicate that it's currently an opportune time to redeem the Board's investment position in AEW Core and then redeploy the proceeds in other strategically attractive investment opportunities. Therefore, the IAC recommends that the School Land Board approve the disposition of its current investment in AEW Core, subject to certain terms and conditions as discussed in executive session. I'm happy to answer any questions.
We have a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carried unanimously to approve item number 6. Next item on the agenda is the presentation of the Texas GLO Permanent School Fund Real Assets Investment Portfolio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is a non-action item. I'm pleased to present you with a quarterly investment report for the TexGlow Permanent School Fund Real Assets Investment Portfolio for the period July 1 through September 30, 2014. The performance measurement calculations and statistical data presented in the QIR were prepared by State Street Bank and its Private Edge Group, and they are the custodial accounting and performance measurement agents for the portfolio. Third quarter 2014 U.S. GDP increased at an annual rate of 5%, which was the fastest pace of growth since the third quarter of 2003. Also during the period, the unemployment rate fell to 5.9%, the first time it's been below 6% since 2008. Fed policy was slightly tweaked during the quarter, with the Fed leaving its Fed funds rate unchanged at 0 to 0.25%, but also affirming that it would keep rates very low if inflation continues to run below its 2% long-term target. Also, the Fed indicated that it would end its quantitative easing program in October 2014, which it did. In the real estate markets, the NCREIF Property Index posted positive returns for the 19th consecutive quarter. Fundamentals across all property types improved during the period, and average occupancy levels across all property types increased 63 basis points to about 92%. The U.S. commercial real estate market, as measured by NPI, returned 2.63% for the quarter, and its trailing one-year return was 11.26%. In the energy markets, WTI oil prices ended down approximately 14% for the quarter at around $91 a barrel. At the end of the period, most analysts believed that oil prices, WTI prices, would settle into an $80, $85 trading range over the medium-term future. Gas prices decreased during the period, ending at $3.88 per million BTUs, which was down about 12%. Most analysts think that prices for gas will fall in a $4 to $5 range per million BTUs by the end of 2015 and 16. As far as the portfolio is concerned, at September 30th, the net asset value was $4.1 billion. Of that, the external portfolio accounted for about $1.9 billion. The internal portfolio was about $285 million, and cash equivalents for about $1.9 billion. As far as the external portfolio is concerned, returns continue to be really good, even though there were write-downs at the end of the quarter in the energy section of the portfolio of about 4%. The portfolio still returned 2.75% versus 1.95% for the benchmark during the quarter. One-year return on the external portfolio is 17.44% versus 9.72 on the benchmark, beating the benchmark by 772 basis points. Similar for the 3-year and the 5-year. 3-year returns 18.09 versus 10.19 for the benchmark. 5-year 16.9 versus 10.68 for the benchmark. So beating the benchmark by extraordinary amounts. The internal portfolio 1-year return at the end of the quarter was 11% versus the benchmark's 9.72. On a combined basis, the 1-year return was 16.47%, beating the benchmark by 675 basis points, and the 5-year return was 13.66%, beating the benchmark by 298 basis points. On an invested basis, the combined portfolio is still generally over-allocated to real estate, but that's going to change over time as we make more and more commitments to energy and infrastructure. At September 30th, real estate allocation on an invested plus unfunded commitments basis was 52% versus a target of 33%. As far as geographic diversification is concerned, the portfolio is very close to the targeted allocation for each of our regions. Currently, the allocation to the U.S. is about 79% compared to the target of 75%. The allocation specifically to Texas is 11% versus a target of 15%, and the international allocation is around 10% compared to the target of 10%. This is a non-action item. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Perhaps for the situational awareness of the board, love to hear more in terms of the new targeted allocation, increase in energy and infrastructure and real estate, how that looks compared to what the current profile looks like right now.
Sure. So As you know, our targets for energy are 35% now, infrastructure is 32%, and real estate is 33%. So we are currently with energy, we're about 26% committed versus our target of 35%, and infrastructure is about 28% versus its target of 32%. So we think it's going to take us a couple of years to get there, focusing on energy and infrastructure as we go forward, and defocusing, if you will, on real estate. The IEC met earlier this month and developed an investment plan for 2015, and in that plan we've allocated, or we've identified what we think will be $785 million to put to work this year. Most of that will be focused on energy and infrastructure, predominantly most of it on energy. We are very excited about co-investment opportunities that we think we're going to begin to encounter this year in the upstream and midstream spaces. And in fact, we've already had conversations with managers that indicate that some of those opportunities are beginning to show up, and we will be taking a serious look at them. So as I said, still over-allocated to real estate, but we're on track to meet those allocation targets, we think, if things go well, within the next 2 years. Happy to answer any more questions.
Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you very much, Rusty.
Thank you.
There being no further business before the School Land Board, this meeting is adjourned.